Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of Pondering Prince, where it's two white guys with a podcast. I am one of the hosts, Cremam, or David. I'm here with my co-host,
Mubel. Hola, como te llamo?
Puedo ir al baño. That's all the Spanish I remember from school. So this is now, depending on where you're seeing this is, if you're listening on audio, this is formerly the Spooky Screams podcast. It became harder to schedule with the other person I was doing the podcast with, and some things came up. So I'm recycling. See, I'm environmentally friendly. I'm recycling my podcast to
He's recycling an entire digital and non-physical thing. So really, the recycling here doesn't make much sense, but he's recycling.
We're recycling.
He's good.
We got a base audience to start off of. So you guys, you spooky screamers, you're gonna have to go from spooky screaming to screaming in terror of what's going on in these books we're reading. That's
homie goes, we got a base audience already. Yes, us and our one viewer.
Listen, we had like 50 viewers for the previous Spooky Screams. We had a few followers on at least Spotify. I don't remember what Apple was, but we had some viewers there too. We had as base, and then also this is going on my YouTube channel as well. So we'll have some viewers funnel in hopefully from there. We're gonna be reading books, hopefully monthly, but I'm not setting that in stone. We're gonna hopefully be reading books and reviewing them for you guys. We're starting out with a banger this week, though. We're gonna be reading. We're reading
what you were forced to read in middle school.
Except I don't remember doing that.
Not us. The generation before us.
Yes, the generation before us, and you might have some PTSD from having to read this book. Not like it's actually that scarring, but you might not want to reread it. But it may bring up trauma from your past, but not from the book, but from
having to do schoolwork.
It'll bring up school trauma.
We are reading today Animal Farm.
Exactly. That is the plan. And the plan is simple. We're reading Animal Farm. Do you want to get started with the book, or do you have anything else you'd like to add before we have little small talk segments? I
don't think I have anything I need to add right now about the book or that.
That makes sense. So we're gonna summarize the book for you who don't remember, or you might need a refresher on it because it's been so long. But Animal Farm, we start out with Old Major, who is a pig, and old, hence the name. But Old Major is sitting in the barn, and he is on his dying breath, and he wants to free the animals from the oppressive regime of Farmer Jones. I think that's his name.
Farmer Jones. Yes.
Jones with an S.
Farmer Jones and Old Major. Yeah.
Yeah, Old Major, and he's like, "We need to free the animals. They're the only thing that don't produce on this farm. He just takes. He's a taker.
Yeah,
he's not a giver."
He says he doesn't know when the revolution will happen, but he knows it has to happen. There has to be a time where the animals rise up and get rid of the humans, because the humans take, and they're greedy.
In the words of Chapel Roan, they're a taker, not a giver.
Yes.
He dies.
In Chapel Roan we trust.
In Chapel Roan we trust. Praise be.
Yeah,
Chapel
no,
Roan.
and then Old Major dies, croaks,
kicks the bucket
and leaves.
Bites the bacon.
After he dies, there's three pigs that kind of lead the other pigs and other animals in this idea of a revolution.
Yes,
Napoleon, Snowball, and good old Squealer. You can bet what the last one does.
So as we go from the three pigs, they go to try to teach the other animals of the farm. We're going to bring up animals' names. If one, we remember them. Two, they are important to the story. But he tries to teach the other animals how to read. And write. Not really write. I guess they don't really do writing, do they?
They do.
They do? Okay. Oh, yeah.
The pigs mostly write.
But they try to teach them how to read and write. Mostly read. And it doesn't really go too well for some of them, especially with like the sheep. They really can't read very well.
I think it said the horses can get like 5 letters into the alphabet before they start forgetting the last letter they remembered.
It's something like that. And the chicken, I think the chickens were pretty intelligent, if I remember right. They were able to do pretty good. Because who does the sheep, the one sheep, go and get to read for her?
It's not a sheep. It is a it's another horse.
Okay, so
It's Molly the horse. She gets
so the horses are able to read because Molly was able to.
they're at least almost all the animals are able to read. It's difficult. It's like
difficult for them.
put it into the mindset of like the highest reading level they have is probably 3rd grade.
Probably.
For everything other than the pigs.
Yeah.
It's like 3rd grade. They can read. It's struggling. If the word's big, they'll just stare at it for a minute and be like, equal.
Subway surfers on the wall of the barn so they can read.
All animals
It has
equal.
like the little subway guy jump in. We're actually gonna go into a little fun fact. I have the original commandments here. We're gonna read off the original commandments that Old Major had put onto them for the pigs to go. These were his things. 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy.
I don't think this was Old Major that did this.
I thought it was Old Major like told them
I thought it was after the revolution.
I think after the revolution they present these as what Old Major wanted.
I don't remember Old Major having a part in this. I think it was after they kicked Jones out. Then they have the whole let's write on the wall.
I thought like this was the ideology they spread across the farm, and then when they took over, then they like wrote them down for everyone to see.
I was under the impression Old Major just sparked the idea. Napoleon and Squealer and the rest talked about it and came up with the 7 from the idea of we want freedom.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I read this, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
But regardless, the pigs start writing commandments is the essential.
They have a revolution. They take back what's theirs. All right, some might even say they seize the means of production and they take it back. But these are the original commandments we have. 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. 2, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. 3, no animal shall wear clothes. 4, no animal shall sleep in a bed. Number 5, no animal shall drink alcohol. Number 6, no animal shall kill any other animal. Number 7, all animals are equal. Those are the rules. The original commandments, some might even say.
The original 7 rules for the farm.
The sinister 7. No, that's not right.
On top of those 7 rules, they did make some extra rules that they didn't write down, but it was kind of like understood in quotations.
Yeah.
When they drove Farmer Jones and his wife out, they said that the house was off limits. They said it was going to be kept as a museum as well.
Yeah. And then they as they go on, so like after they take it over, they do get their work in and they're working together and it is going well.
After they overthrow Jones, their work is actually better than when the humans were there. They got 100% crop retention from what they planted last time.
They pretty much worked extremely efficiently because they're all working together. Now, they do, I think it was every Sunday, they have a meeting where they go together and they talk about decisions for the community, and the pigs usually kind of lead it, and the pigs usually are like the leaders. They bring the ideas and then everyone votes on it and kind of does it communally. But
during these meetings on Sundays, there's normally 2 pigs leading it all.
Yes.
There's Snowball and then there's Napoleon. And you can always count on one thing. These 2 motherfuckers do not see eye to eye. They are constantly, one man says, hey, yeah, let's do free healthcare. The other says, fuck your healthcare. Why don't we make the rich pay less money?
Yeah. You would think they would be cows with the beef they have. But so basically those 2 are always clashing heads, and Snowball usually when talking gets the majority of the votes whenever they vote on ideas.
It's both of them. Regardless of who, it's whoever is talking, that's the side that they get. They honey the words.
So, at least from my understanding was whenever Snowball is talking, usually they agree with him, but Napoleon would go and like talk with the sheep, and usually got like during the council, Snowball's usually like has the majority of the favor, but then Napoleon, when it's not a meeting, will go and kind of like talk, make deals, kind of like schwooze them a little bit to get them on his side during the meetings.
I saw that during the meetings, it was just whoever was talking during the moment is what they would listen to.
That's how I understood it, at least when I listened to it. Is like Snowball, they were quite 50-50, but usually during the meetings, Snowball did good, but usually Snowball doesn't go and like talk with them.
It was, from my understanding, it was 50-50 up until the point that they were talking windmill. And then that's when Napoleon went he went,
crazy.
wait a minute, no, dogs.
Yeah. Well, because they skipped this part in the we watched the summary beforehand because we both read this at like the beginning of the month, or at least I read the book at the beginning of the month, so I
read through it twice.
I read through it once and then I went on Wikipedia. But because I think he goes and gets like favor, and he also takes the puppy litter and raises them during this like period while they're still kind of butting heads, and it looks kind of friendly. Like there's usually just banter back and forth. But then like Napoleon is bringing up the windmill, and they're hesitant. And Napoleon is kind of pushing against it. But then
actually, we missed an important part here. The
What did we
actual
miss?
like turning point of the story. When after they just kicked Jones out and the cows needed milked, when there was a little bit of milk and a little bit of
oh yeah, the
something
pigs
else,
took it for themselves.
the pigs took all the milk, and the pigs took all of something else that was like
I think it was the milk and the oats.
something apples.
Apples, yes.
Milk
it
and
was the
apples.
milk and apples. They took it all for themselves.
They would take it all for themselves, and that's when people are
That's like
saying
the
that's the
start of the
actual like turning point of the
Yeah.
story.
They
That's
start-
when things start going
Yes,
bad.
You did forget that. I completely forgot about that. That's something I forgot. We then go into where they're like Napoleon, but then Napoleon as Snowball's working because they also take over the house at this point and use it as like their own little like base of operations, if I remember correctly.
I think they wait till Snowball's kicked out.
Because he goes in and pisses on Napoleon, pees on
Different.
Snowball's
That's not in
plans for the
that's not
windmill.
in Jones's house. That's in the shed.
That's in the shed.
That's somewhere that's not off limits.
I thought that was the barn, but in the shed, Snowball is making the plans for the warehouse, but then Napoleon pees
Windmill.
on it. The windmill. Napoleon then pees on it for some reason
to fuck up the plans.
to fuck up the plans, but then he takes the plan.
He studied them and he studied them himself,
memorized,
and then he fucked it up.
He fucked up Snowball's plans, and then at the meeting when Snowball brings this up, then when like people are like, wait,
When Snowball, sorry, just jumping on you, but
No, you're good.
I'm
that's the
continuing where you're
podcast,
going.
baby. That's the whole point.
So Snowball in the meeting brings up, hey, we can build a windmill, guys. We can get electricity in this bitch. And the guys are like, why the fuck would we want electricity? Why what would we need electricity for? And Snowball's like, well, hear me out, guys. Hot water, lights,
Amenities.
heating, all these amenities. Our life could be easy. We could have a threshing machine to get rid of I don't know what you do with a threshing machine. I'm not a farmer.
So it takes like the straw away from
The actual
the grain.
food.
So
Okay.
it threshes it and it whaps it and it flings out the like seeds and the grains that you want from it, and then it makes like straw.
So they could do that. They can thresh their own food, and then they could have easily in half the time or a quarter of the time that they
And
normally
the milking
did.
Machines that the cows are no longer having to like
Get struggled
suffer
milked
from
by pigs with their fucking hooves.
That would hurt so bad. That would hurt so bad. I was going to use an analogy that I probably shouldn't.
This is the part of the story I really don't understand, but also looking at America right now, it makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes.
So during the meeting when Snowball is talking about the fucking windmill and Napoleon gets all pissy and summons the dogs, why did not a single animal, not a reaction, not a what the hell's going on?
so
Like, I know they're shocked and in fear
they're
of
shocked,
the
and the dogs
things, but
they're basically loyal dogs, and these are farm animals. They're prey animals. Dogs are predators. They have the claws. They have the bite force. They have the power. Like the only animals that really could fight them would be like the donkey, which
it's
is
not
loyal
a
to
thing
Napoleon.
of fighting. It's not. The question is not a thing of why didn't they fight and beat the dogs now. It's why did not a single one of them talk about it after? None of them went Snowball. Like not a Snowball was a good guy. Like that happens later when they tell more lies about him. But
from my
there was
understanding
nothing.
He already started he already had his influence over the sheep, and he had Boxer on his side. He had these Boxer is probably the only one that really could have taken on the dogs realistically because he's a big donkey, he's powerful. He already had him on the side, and he had the sheep, which are a big majority of the farm animals, in my understanding, are the sheep and the chickens, and he had the sheep on his side. They were gonna believe him no matter what.
The animals were all middle of the road until Napoleon had them literally to himself.
Yes.
Until they drove Snowball off.
Yeah.
They were all middle of the road
But
accepting.
I think if I remember right, because he went and he would talk with them in his free time and kind of sell them things.
But
like,
just
he's the one who taught them 4 legs good.
That was
2
Squealer.
legs. Was that Squealer?
That was
I
Squealer.
thought that
Squealer
was
is the
Napoleon.
only one that actually talks to him.
And I think Squealer is a Napoleon. I believe Squealer is with Napoleon the entire time because, or at least he gets manipulated. So I think when he does that with Squealer, he sends Squealer to like be
I've
like,
seen
no, that's fake news. That's not true. That's propaganda that you're falling to.
I've seen a theory that Napoleon's not the real one in charge. It's Squealer the whole time. He just lets Napoleon act in charge because he's the one really talking through the people. He's getting the people to listen to him.
I can see that. But then again,
in terms of like actual leadership,
in actual leadership, I feel like he's using Squealer as like a mouthpiece. If you want to give a modern day example of this,
Trump and Musk.
Trump is Squealer, and Elon, I don't want to call it Elon is like Napoleon because he's the in-between, and he's being used as a mouthpiece essentially to kind of spew forth what he wants.
I can agree with that.
So he's basically just using him as a like go-between. He's kind of like a translator, sort of. He translates it in a way that they want to hear, but really it's what Napoleon wants, but he's translating it in a way to get them to agree with what he wants and say it's for their own best interest.
I don't even think it's...
He's basically like a living piece of propaganda. He's a propaganda machine.
Kinda, yeah. I don't even think he twists it into ways he wants. It's just that he uses the fear to control them flat out. Because throughout the story, they'll eventually get to a point where if anything comes up questioning of what the pigs are doing, it's... You don't want Jones to come back.
Or it evolves from Mr. Jones to Snowball.
Well, Snowball was part of it. Because right after they kick Snowball off, they go, Snowball's working with Jones. We're going to lie. We're going to start saying he's a spy.
Yeah. But then they
any issue that comes after.
They basically translate.
Well, no, they bring him up.
He
dies. He dies in the book. That's why he goes away.
Oh, he's dead? I thought he just run away.
Jones, so after the second time they push him away, kick him off the farm, like when he comes back to fight, he kills himself, kinda. He drinks himself to death. I thought he just like drank himself into a lonely apartment. I guess no, he drank himself to death.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But I think they basically moved Jones as target, and they basically just used Snowball as like the next like big bad almost.
Well, he's just a scapegoat. Is all that they're using. Jones is still the main enemy. It's just that
they just use him as a proxy.
It's easy when you have an enemy that you know and you can actually point to,
and you can be like, "Oh, you remember this, right?" Also, Napoleon, kind of a girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. He did all of those things.
Oh my god.
Napoleon, slay queen. So they basically take over the farm. They have, Napoleon's taken over the farm, and he brings up the windmill, and he was saying he was lying about it to reveal Snowball's true intentions and how they were impure. So he kind of goes after him, and he's like, "Nah, you need to not do that. We're gonna do this." But because I can't remember where them break is. One of the sheep, I don't remember her name, gets to ask about using human stuff because they need to trade and barter with the humans to get some of the parts they need for the windmill.
I think it's Molly again. I don't think it's a sheep. I don't think it's a sheep. It's another one of the...
I forget who asks who to read it to her.
You're thinking of a later scene entirely.
Because
way later.
Twice.
You're thinking way later.
Am I
Both times are Molly.
Both times are Molly? Because I remember there was a part where they're like, isn't using human machinery not good?
That's not part of it.
Okay.
The human machinery part is not part of it. It was the trading with humans. They bring up trading, and Napoleon brings it as like, "Oh, well, you don't have to worry about it. I'll trade, specifically just me. Only I will talk with them.
We'll just do it this once, and it'll be a beacon to prove we are better to the outside world."
Yeah, it's also he claims it's to help stop spreading the lies that people are spreading about Animal Farm, that they're starving by themselves, they can't do anything. Really what it's slowly doing is slowly introducing capitalism back into Animal Farm.
Yes, exactly.
Because he'll first say, "Hey, we need to do this," and then he'll come back and go, "Hey, so we need money, and how we get money is we sell the chickens' eggs. We'll sell some chickens' eggs, and they'll suffer for this year, but hey, we'll win. We'll get the stuff to make a dynamo dynamos, gears, whatever to make electricity.
It's like it's mechanical parts to transfer wind energy into electricity.
Yeah. So these animals, they go, yeah, we'll do that. We'll accept it. But first we have to start making a windmill now. So they start breaking these rocks apart, dragging them up a hill.
Like push them up a cliff and push them off to break them into smaller pieces.
Yeah.
When does a chicken revolution start? I thought it was around this part when he offers their eggs the first time.
It's after the windmill falls the first time.
Okay, it's the
windmill falls and then they increase.
So I think the first time it's not the eggs, but I think it's the first time they trade the excess
grains, excess wheat,
the extra excess grains and like hay that they got.
Yeah. It was that, and then it wasn't enough the first time.
Yeah,
they started small amounts of eggs, and then they started increasing it more and more,
drastically, and then you get
the hen started. Falls. The windmill falls, and Napoleon declares it was because of Snowball, when in reality they just didn't make the walls thick enough.
Yeah, they didn't protect it properly. It was improperly built.
Because they're animals.
Yeah, because they're animals, and
also two, they're not trained in this.
They're not trained, and also they're probably not very dexterous.
Probably not. No, none of them. It tells you none of them can use tools at all.
They can't use it properly.
Not at all.
And also this is when Boxer starts to get really worn down.
No, second time they build the windmill.
Second time
he dies right at the end of the windmill.
Okay, because doesn't it?
He finishes bringing up all the stone, and he collapses with a lung, and then they do the thing.
They do the thing.
So they sell the windmill falls, and they say it's because of Snowball, blah blah blah, and anything bad on the farm happening now, Napoleon says it's because of Snowball. There's some weeds in with the wheat. It's Snowball's fault.
He planted them.
He spread the stuff in there with it.
Destruction. Banger line right there.
Yeah. And also Napoleon starts sending the birds out with messages to spread Animal Farm's glory.
Yes.
And also to start talking to the neighboring farms, which he is just trying to turn both of them against each other so he can come out on top. But that only backfires when both farms hate his guts then and decide, hey, we need to get rid of this farm.
Yeah, they kind of they realize the espionage. And also, is this when they introduce the lumber debates between the two farmers? Because
not yet.
No.
The first maybe it's not after the first one. Maybe I'm speaking out of order here, but after
the timeline is fuzzy. You're gonna get the general gist.
After the windmill falls the first time, Jones and a bunch of other people come back to the farm to try and take it back. Yes. Jones has a gun. The other people have sticks. The animals are successful in defending the farm. I think Boxer beats some dude over the head and cracks his skull. I think that's a part.
So. I think I don't think he dies because they think he kills him, but then he goes away.
Yeah.
Which we forgot to mention entirely in the first battle for Jones's farm.
This is the first one.
This is the first.
I'm trying to cover the first one right now.
But Snowball is still alive because remember Snowball.
Oh yeah, Snowball was there. Yeah. Before Snowball left, this is the battle. So
there's the first battle.
Snowball gets shot in the back by the shotgun. Boxer fights off some people, and then after this, then Snowball gets kicked out.
This happens I want to say a week or two after the first the first revolution. During the beginning of the revolution, he does this, and then he waits as they go back. But then we come up to battle number 2, because this is when they start saying that Snowball was being faked being shot.
Yeah,
you faked it because he was actually on their sides, because people were we remember fighting along Snowball. Snowball got shot in the back. Snowball took a bullet taking on the farmers.
And the second time, the Napoleon has been pushing these two farms against each other, saying he'd sell the lumber to one. He did sell the lumber to one, and he got counterfeit money for it instead of real money.
Well, he claimed they got counterfeit money. He tried selling it to the one. He claimed they were giving counterfeit, so then he sold it to the other one as well.
No, he got counterfeit. They took the logs.
I thought he was selling it to another. He sold it to another farm then.
He took it to the one farm, came, collected the logs, gave him money, and then he looked at the money and it was fake. Because there was a loud squeal coming from the farmhouse, and they came out and they were screaming, "It's fake! It's fake!" I'm 90% sure. We can double look this up, but
a down deposit. But then he's no, this is fake money. And then he went to sell it to the other one to try to get money from both parties, if I remember correctly.
Frederick ultimately purchases timber from Animal Farm, but pays for it with counterfeit bills, and days later attacks Animal Farm and blows up the windmill.
I must listen. It was late at night when I was listening the first time. I guess I was wrong. I swear he tried selling it to 2, but
He probably did. They probably talked to it the first time. And
I remember them going back and forth, and then like ultimately deciding on something else.
Oh, okay, so this whole part is an allegory for the Soviet Union's relationship with Germany, where Germany represented by Mr. Frederick breaks a treaty and invades the Soviet Union. Where they said, "Hey, yeah, we'll be friends. We'll buy your timber. I want your whole farm."
Nice timber. Too bad. I'm going to steal your entire
we forgot
woods.
to mention when Mr. Frederick does attack, the reason he attacks is because he paid off the police to look the other way if he can get his hands on the title to the farm. He would own the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Oh yeah, because they want the title, because then the title is what's
all the land.
Yeah, keeping everything in for them. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we're like, listen, chat. You're gonna enjoy this journey of us muddily walking through Animal Farm, the farm of animals. We're some might say we're animals. Some might even say meow. So we get to the second destruction of the tower, because I think, don't they go through a harsh winter while building the first tower, and then it was finally supposed to be done
was
at
because
the end of the
the
year?
first one they weren't planting when they were building the
Windmill.
windmill,
which just is bad planning generally, because
that's horrible planning. Yeah,
even if you got the windmill done, it doesn't make food. You need something to run the windmill through, which I believe was always going to just power the house.
I think, well, no, we
It's
know
my
what it
theory.
powered with. We know what it powered. It powered threshing machines, but it wasn't for food. It was for, not threshing, it was other machines for money.
It
was stuff that made more money. And then they promised the second time around, before the windmill blew up, they said, we're building another one. That'll be for comfort.
Yeah.
That'll be our comfort items. We'll put the dynamos in that one.
At least that's what I was thinking.
Oh, they were making
sorry,
flour with it.
That's right. They were gonna make flour
with the second windmill they built, and then they said that the next one will put the dynamos in and give you electricity, the hot water, the power. But at that point, none of the animals fucking remembered why they wanted it.
Yeah, and all the new animals they purchased at that point in the timeline when we're talking about where he does this is that. But I think after the blowing up of the farmhouse,
the windmill,
they basically are just working, and Boxer gets like really beat down. After
the second windmill blew up, Squealer and the other pigs had a very different message than the other ones. The animals, so all the animals after they lost the windmill, they're sad, they're upset. All of our hard work is gone, and Squealer and the other pigs are going, we need to celebrate. We won. Yeah, we won this battle.
They do a gunshot salute to celebrate.
And all the other animals, I think Boxer specifically said, this wasn't a victory. No, we didn't win.
Yeah.
We didn't win anything. We lost the windmill. And Squealer responses was, we can build 20 if we wanted. Yeah. It doesn't matter. We won.
Yeah. This is also when they changed the rules, which I have in front of me here. It's no animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets. No animal shall drink alcohol to excess. No animal shall kill another animal without cause. And all animals are equal. No, that one's a final change. Scratch that. But they also changed the rules, and this is also when the pigs start living in the farmhouse.
So before that, the animals do start living in the house, like he said, and they start sleeping in the beds. And Molly questions that, actually. And Molly goes over and she goes, isn't there a rule against sleeping in beds? And Squealer goes, no. It's only with sheets is the problem. Because sheets are a man-made thing.
Yeah, beds are just
comfy. But we need that comfy bed because we think a lot.
Our brains work, so we need better sleep so we can do better.
On top of that, then, the next rule I think you covered was the alcohol.
Yes, no drinking alcohol to excess.
That used to be no animal can drink alcohol, period.
Yes. It was
Napoleon and the pigs either bought or found cases of whiskey in Jones's house, and they drank it a lot. And Squealer the next day said, Napoleon he's poisoned by someone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Man was hungover like a fucking...
Yeah. Listen, I've had some hangovers where I thought someone poisoned my ass. I'm not gonna lie. I've had some. I've been there, done that.
So it changed from just being from no drinking to no drinking in excess. And on top of that, after that, there was a patch of land back behind the barn that the animals all, when they first started Animal Farm, they all agreed that land is off limits and it'll be to the retired animals.
Yes, it's basically it's social security allegory. I
Basically,
guess.
social security. Like, hey, you retirement, you're gonna live. We're gonna take care of you because you took care of us, type deal.
Yeah.
That land got taken by the pigs, and instead they started growing not beer. What is it? The shit that, not wheat, hops.
Hops, yes.
Hops or something. They were growing something to make alcohol with, specifically. Yes. And none of the animals really questioned it because there's got to be another plan for us.
Our leader knows best.
Napoleon knows best. Good old, what is his name? Not Brutus. The horse. The one that broke himself. Boxer.
Yes, Boxer.
Boxer has 3 mottos, I think, maybe, but I can only remember 2. 1, I shall work harder. Every problem he sees in life, he can fix by working harder. Like he's a stand-in for the Soviet working class.
They just blindly followed, and they were his favored.
His second motto is Napoleon is always right. Yes. Because Napoleon always told the quote-unquote truth about Snowball, about the farm.
Yeah.
Told them what they needed to hear to get them to do things.
Man, I could think of a modern allegory for you Gen Z and Gen Alpha kids. Daddy Trump knows best. Listen to him. I mean, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what we're hearing from here and now and then, here and there, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, after this windmill gets fucked up in an explosion, they go build it again. They're pushing harder. It's getting harder for them to find materials to build because they're running out of.
Boxer, the horse, he drags up a big thing of stone one day. He's working by himself. He's working so hard, and then he collapses, and one of the it's either Molly or someone else. I think
it's the sheep Molly. I believe it's.
I don't think Molly's a sheep. I'm pretty sure Molly's a horse.
I'm bad with names.
I'm pretty sure Molly's a horse because they mention about how they wanted to how she liked ribbons tied into her mane and stuff like that.
That's right.
And she would go around to the edge of the farm and let a human pet her.
Yes.
And the sheep questioned that, or someone questioned that.
Yes, I can't remember. But she does find him, and they try to bring him back down to get medical care.
Benjamin and Molly sit with him while they go, and Squealer goes and gets help, and Squealer lies to all the animals there and Boxer, saying that they're going to get a doctor soon.
They're sending him to the best human doctor. He's going to spare no expense. He doesn't care how much it costs. He is going to support
Boxer needs help.
He was his loyalist subject. He was the most loyal to the cause, comrades.
The next day, when the other ones are working on the windmill, Benjamin comes running over. The donkey, who's normally he's standing out of it.
He's
nothing
like,
matters.
It'll pass. It'll be back to where it was.
He's the guy who, he didn't even want to build the windmill because he said, even if we build the windmill or not, the food won't become more plentiful. It won't become lost. It'll be how it'll be. Life will go on how it goes.
George Orwell,
poorly.
POV.
Yeah.
It's a stand. It's a stand-in. It's his OC. It's a self-insert.
So Benjamin comes running over screaming, they're taking Boxer away. And as the people come over, they start yelling, "Bye, Boxer, bye, Boxer." None of them can fucking read. None of them can read. Benjamin starts screaming at them, "You fools!"
That's a slaughterhouse, or like the glue.
It's a glue factory.
It's a glue factory.
It's a glue people. They're coming to take Boxer, melt him down, and put him into glue.
He's gonna be Elmer.
Elmer Fudd.
I will put you back together.
All right, purple guy.
But that happens, and then Napoleon basically is like,
Squealer comes out.
Because Napoleon doesn't come out anymore, but I think he comes out to tell them that the hospital killed him.
It's Squealer comes out and he goes, "Well, you really think that we would let that happen to him? They just didn't repaint the wagon." And then he goes, "I was there when he died. His last words were, I wish I could work harder, and Napoleon's always right," is what they lie and say Boxer's last words were.
Yeah, and Napoleon.
Because Napoleon, I think the next time we see Napoleon's when he's walking on 2 legs.
That's right, because he's basically become secluded, and it's literally just the propaganda machine that is just literally no longer directly communicating. He is using his team or whatever.
The pigs
to translate it.
The pigs say that this is their work in their own words. We have to take a piece of paper, write on that piece of paper until it's covered every inch and then black out important words on that paper and then shred it as soon as it's done. Because all they do is paperwork.
They do so much paperwork.
Because it's
They
so
need
important
this
for
extra
them.
resources that are funneling them to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically escalates. It becomes like basically a gulag at Animal Farm. They're working hard. They're not eating at all. They're suffering.
They are. It turns into we're getting closer to the end of the book now.
We're nearing the end.
We're sprinting towards the end. I think this is going to get close to wrapping it up. It gets to a point where Napoleon invites the two human farmers over that were fighting him before. They take a tour of the farm. He's trying to set aside differences of we don't have to be enemies anymore.
Yeah. He's trying to make peace.
And the farmers look around, they see the farm, they see how much work's getting done, and they go, these people, these horses, these animals, people, I'm just going to say people because that's what the allegory is. These people get paid less than anyone else in the fucking world. They get less food than anyone else, and they're doing more work. Yes. And the farmers go, we are going to implement some of these tricks in our own countries, in our own farms. And in response to that, Napoleon and them are like chuckling. They're going to have a dinner with the people. Is there anything else I'm missing before we get into the end? So they're
drinking. Well, I think they come out in clothes first.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do right before this.
This is when they also get the so during this entire time, the sheep, he basically teaches close, which I'm going to go over.
I think Squealer takes all the sheep out for like a day or two in a field. He keeps them away from everyone for 2 or 3 days, and he teaches them a new song. And the song is 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
4 legs good, 2 legs better.
And when the people get back to the farm, Napoleon's coming out with his dogs, and all of the pigs are coming out walking on 2 legs, some limping, some looking like they need a cane.
But they're like
and legs. As the animals are watching this happen, they're shocked. They're enraged at the fact that these pigs are walking around on 2 legs. And then the sheep start buying the 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
The criticism.
They don't even get the criticism out, because by the time they get the urge to speak, they're all in the house again. It says.
Yeah. They just make an appearance and then disappear.
But back to the dinner, the Napoleon and them all sit down there. Everyone seems to be getting along. The humans and pigs. Yes. Everyone's working together. Cards. They're making deals and they're playing cards. And as the animals sneak up to watch them from the window, they notice all of this. They watch them have their lavish lives, and they turn around. They start leaving before they hear a scuffle breaking out between the pigs and the humans. They go back to the window and they see that Napoleon has an ace of spades in his poker set, and across the table, Frederick has an ace of spades as well. Both of them tried playing it at the same time. So either one was cheating or both were cheating.
They were both basically just trying to use each other for their own gains, as per the usual.
And the good quote from the book is, the animals look from person to pig and pig to person, and they cannot tell the difference anymore, because all animals are created equal, except some animals are created more equal.
Yes, it's the direct quote is
Molly asks,
all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Molly, at this point, after watching all this shit break down, walks over to Benjamin and asks, hey, can you read the commandments for me, because they don't look the same in my old age. And as they walk over there's not 7 on the board, there's just 1, and it's all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Yes. Yep. That is, and it pretty much just ends there.
So, fun fact that I know about this book that you might not. Did you know that George Orwell was a socialist?
What?
He's an actual socialist, and the American education system writes this book as
as a communist
analyzes
book.
It as it's not a communist. It analyzes it as like capitalism has to be the way or it's anarchy.
Yeah.
When George Orwell wrote this as like you can have your communism, you can have your
socialism.
You can have that, but the real message of the book is be aware of what's happening.
Ultimate power ultimately corrupts.
Well, not even that. It's just keep aware of what the people in power are doing. You have to keep an eye on them, or someone's going to fuck you.
Yeah, because I mean, they go from I think, from my understanding, they go from straight just plain old communism to straight capitalism, instead of taking like the benefits of both and making like socialism, which a lot of people get confused between capitalism and like socialism, as there's no like trade going on at all. Socialism has trade. Capitalism is just, I think the definition on Google, I'm going to Google this, but capitalism is businesses are supposed to make money for shareholders instead of making it for like the betterment, everyone. Like you can have trade.
Socialism is the economic and political philosophy encompassing diverse economic and social system characterized by social ownership of the means of production, which means the people have the power here.
Yes.
No matter what, everything goes back to the people in theory.
And like what I think Ford had, and he got sued for, was he wanted to use the extra money that Ford was making to pay his employees and to like better the lives of his employees and pay them more.
Are you talking like Henry Ford?
Yes.
You are wrong. You are wrong.
Am I thinking of the different Ford?
You are thinking of a different Ford. Henry Ford was dropped in Mein Kampf for fucking siding with Hitler.
Well,
he was not a socialist. That man was everything but.
He got sued, or maybe it's not someone, but it was someone in Ford that got sued because he wanted to pay his workers more, but he had to give that extra money to his shareholders. And he got sued for this. Yes, I know he was very Nazi-like, but he actually was trying to pay his workers more.
Dodge v. Ford Motor Company.
Dodge sued him.
In a case which Michigan Supreme Court held that Henry Ford had to operate the Ford Motor Company in the interest of its... Yeah.
Yep.
Rather than in the merit of the
bad person, but he at least was trying to make his employees better and make their working conditions better and make things better for his company, but he had to give the money to the shareholders because his job as CEO was to make money for his shareholders, not to enrich his employees. Listen, he was not good in other regards, referring Jews and different things.
No, he wasn't. None of this makes sense for what he did. None of that makes sense. Why would he want to not pay his shareholders? The dude literally hired Pinkerton guards to beat his fucking workers when they said, we're dying.
Weird, right? But hey, that's one thing he tried doing good, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going full evil mode. But yeah, that makes
no sense. The dude literally would hire Pinkertons to fucking beat him. The only thing I can think of,
I'm going to be a little conspiratorial here. I wonder if he did that on purpose.
What if he didn't like the shareholders?
Well, or he did that on purpose so Dodge would sue him, so that creates the standard in the court system. So if Dodge tries doing that or something,
but
they
also
can use it against him, so he can like sue them like, hey, we already have like something showing us. If you need, you can loosen.
No, it's good. I'm just moving it out of my face.
Yeah. Okay. So I have some notes here. We're going to go into my little note section. Notes, Snowball, slow demonization. We kind of talked about this throughout. The way the sheep literally are manipulated by Napoleon. Like, especially in the early days, he would go down and talk with the sheep and, like, be friendly with the sheep. And he kind of, like, outside of the council, rallied them to help him during the council. I
don't think he talked to them a single time.
I swear he went down there and he became buddy-buddy with all the sheep. That's why, because he taught them the 4 legs.
That was Squealer.
Maybe I'm confused.
It was Squealer. Squealer's the only one that talked or taught to any of them.
So maybe I'm just at least that's what when I wrote this down. The way they changed how Boxer dies and how they he basically sold out his most loyal after they're no longer useful to him. He basically sold them to squeeze as much money out of him as possible.
Okay, so I'm a little wrong. Napoleon did teach them to chant the 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
That's what I thought, because I remember him teaching him that, and then he has Squealer do it later down the line.
Yeah.
He kind of swooshed them outside of it, so that even if they're losing in the debate, they'll just whenever Snowball was winning, he'd have them chant in the crowd, to kind of drown out Snowball near the end.
Well, that was they also said that was just because the sheep were enthusiastic. Yes. It wasn't Napoleon. It was just that they were locked in on that.
They were locked in. The other thing is I like how
because it also said they'd do that just randomly through the day.
Yeah, I do like how they go with the 4 legs part, and how Snowball was actually what helped them create the 4 legs, like counting a wing as a leg and that kind of thing, and how they made it simpler, but simplifying things can also make it so outliers are no longer included. By simplifying things, you could be like, well, I don't think that wings are legs, so let's get rid of the birds, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't fit my definition of human as an example. So I don't think they should have the same rights.
Actually, so this is way off track, but do you know Plato, like the
Yeah.
Greek philosopher?
Like the stuff you
Have
eat.
you okay, so have you heard of the time that Diogenes
yes,
came in there with a chicken?
I
He
present to you
plucked
a
whole
man.
yeah.
And it's a chicken with no
plucked
feathers.
Plato was like, yeah, a human is just a flightless plucked bird,
it's
two-legged flightless animal or
yes.
something like that. And then Diogenes came in with a fucking plucked
a
chicken,
Metal Gear is a human.
set it down, and he goes, "Look,
I think
behold,
the
a
simplest way to
man."
describe a man is a two-legged animal without fur or something like that.
It's without
Or like
feathers. It's
without
a flightless.
feathers.
It had to be
Oh
flightless.
yeah, it's a two-legged animal without feathers, I think. So technically, a Metal Gear is a man. But yeah, no, that's it's great. It's something like that.
I want to find out.
Yeah. But basically, like, just like the two-legged debate, just making it so that basically the more simplified you get, the more likely you are to have stragglers that are not being included in stuff when they really should.
Plato, his definition was a man is a featherless biped.
Aha, there we go, featherless biped, which makes a Metal Gear a man. It makes the Boston Dynamic robots a man. But yeah, that's basically what I had my thoughts on that. How they started trading with the humans, even though they swore it off because trade and barter and that was a man-made thing, and they wanted to destroy that. And animalism is another little thing. You have anything you want to add with that?
Not particularly, because that one just.
We kind of already went over that. Yeah, the 4 legs good, 2 legs better, all animals equal, more unequal. That just kind of a note there. All right, let's go with some fun fucking facts right here. Fun fact number 1: George Orwell, Animal Farm was the first book in which I tried. This is a quote from him. Animal Farm was the first book in which I tried with full consciousness of what I was doing to fuse political purpose and artistic purpose in one whole book. It was his first intentionally political book.
Yeah, that checks out.
Because his other ones you can pull out the politics from it, but it wasn't intentional. It wasn't his intent when writing the book. This one.
When did he make 1984? I'm assuming it was after this because that one is very political.
I think so. I believe so. I'm not sure. The original name of the novel was going to be Animal Farm, a fairy story.
A what?
His original name for Animal Farm was Animal Farm, a fairy story.
Yeah, that checks out.
An inspiration for Animal Farm was a book called The Road to Wigan Pier. It was like a children's book that was very similar to Animal Farm, but a little bit more basic.
Okay, so 1984 came out 4 years after.
Okay, so yeah, but I think he may have wrote before, but I think Animal Farm was like his first.
Yeah, no, it was. 1985 was Animal Farm.
Okay.
85, 45, whatever it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever I said. It was 5 years
It was
before.
something like that. I mean, you guys get it. You guys have Google. You can look at your fucking selves. All right. Let us know in the comments below what we got wrong.
Let us know everything we got wrong.
Between 1952 and 1957, the CIA in an operation codenamed A Dinosaur, sent millions of balloons carrying copies of the novel into Poland, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia, whose Air Force tried to shoot the balloons down. The Information Research Department, a secret Cold War propaganda agency of the British government, translated books into various languages such as Arabic.
Do you know the CIA bought the rights from this book from George Orwell's wife because he died by the time?
Oh,
they bought the right. Did you not know that?
No,
actually,
I did not know this.
The Animal Farm movie's funded by the CIA.
Huh.
As far as I'm aware, it's funded like solely by the CIA.
I genuinely did not know that.
The CIA bought it, and then they were
crazy.
like, "That's why in schools and stuff, it's only marked as like a communist bad, capitalism good." It's because it's like the CIA. The CIA is animal farming us. They are literally animal farming us. Of take your information, what we give you. Don't look at your own.
Yeah, no. I genuinely did not know that.
Yeah, the CIA owns it. As far as I know.
And then I basically just have all the things. The only other thing I want to add as a little fun fact is on Steam, coming out in the year of our Lord 2020, they released a graphic visual novel of Animal Farm.
Oh, okay.
On Steam.
I correct myself here. The CIA does not own in quotations, but they did secretly fund and heavily influence the creation of a 1954 animated film adaptation aiming to use it as Cold War propaganda tool.
That makes sense. I was gonna say, because the way the book is still written and we have access to it, it doesn't seem like it would be propaganda, but I could see how in an animated film they could change that.
Well, even with honestly, with people's reading retention skills,
or their media literacy skills,
the media literacy,
like
I can
yeah.
foresee a bunch of people being like, no, communism
You're
bad.
right. I can't read into
Capitalism
anything.
good.
Listen, I may not be able to read, but I can read into things.
Listen, I can't read, but I can read into.
But like same like with like Homelander, people genuinely think Homelander is the good guy still of the boys.
He never looked like the good guy.
No, but people.
I didn't even watch the show, and he didn't look like a good guy.
People still think he's a good guy. It's insane. They're like, oh, it's such a nuanced take on. No, it's not. It's pretty.
Question.
Fucking obvious.
Hold on. I've never watched the boys, but I heard rumor. Did he run for president? Is that a thing that happened in the show?
No, he pulled an exact Elon. He has his own president that he bought out and is basically trolling.
Like the actual president, or is it the president
the
of
actual
VOD?
President of the United States of America.
Because I've seen
his own soups in the
because I've seen a little bit that the boy in the boys that he is friends with the president of VOD.
Yes.
At some point, which I didn't know if that was the same president, but no.
Is doing Elon. And
yeah, that checks out.
Instead of Teslas in the military, he put soups in the police force. And this came out before the election, and they were like, oh, this isn't going to happen. Like, basically, the boys predicted the future.
So, honestly, not only because I don't know the boys, but honestly, the idea of superheroes in a police force sounds genuinely kind of good, though. In an idea sense of how they could work.
They were owned, so basically.
No, not like, that they're obviously corrupt here because of that.
The superheroes are essentially like, think of like Tesla Cybertrucks. They aren't treated as humans. They're treated as like machines.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying like superheroes on a police force sounds actually kind of beneficial. It does make sense,
but like it was a privatized superhero industry that they're basically doing this on their own.
No, yeah,
and,
I get you.
They're making movies and media franchises and all that kind of stuff and like making shit up. Like technically in The Boys, there is not a superhero that's not on Compound V. They make up fake stories. But that's just to like show, oh, that's like, no, they were mutated like really badly. We'll just say they're an alien from outer space.
I get you.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. The only other thing is there's also a comic strip for Animal Farm yeah, there's some weird fucking shit from Animal Farm.
Animal Farm is fucking wild.
It's wild.
It's such a wild thing because like I said earlier, the dude that wrote it was a fucking socialist. He wrote Animal Farm not for the aspect of shoot down communism, shoot down socialism. He was just looking at it like, dude, I just watched the Soviet Union fuck up every step of communism here.
Didn't do it. They
didn't do this right.
I guess they did communism, but they didn't do socialism.
They didn't do communism.
Yeah, they pretty much didn't do communism.
Because even the Soviet Union never truly reached communism. They just reached a point of the top needs to survive.
Yeah, no, they didn't really do it properly. But he's basically saying like this is what happens when it gets corrupted. Yeah. Like when you don't have your proper checks and balances.
This is how it can corrupt. How it starts from something very small. Pure. From milk and oats. Yeah. Milk and apples like, was sitting there and we didn't question where it went. Yeah. And all of a sudden we're not equal anymore. Yeah, no. Months down the line, years down the line.
The snowball, some might even say, where it starts small and it builds and builds and builds and builds. Yeah. I just clicked that together. That just clicked for me.
Oh, I didn't think of that either. But
it's the snowball. How a snowball's small. Yeah. And then he builds on it before he becomes like the Antichrist in their eye.
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't think of anything else more to add.
I had something, then it was gone.
No, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Oh, Trotsky. Snowball represents Trotsky. We're talking about how it relates to the Soviet Union. So I'll break that down a little bit.
I genuinely didn't know this.
So
when I first heard of the book,
as far as my knowledge, Napoleon represents Stalin. The whole evidence pointing to that to help with it is Stalin and Trotsky were the ones that helped start the
Yeah.
Soviet Union, as far as I'm aware. I don't know that much into the history there, but they worked together. Then Stalin, fucking get Trotsky out of here. He's the one doing shit.
Yeah,
he's actually trying to make
he's
shit
trying
work.
he's trying to do it properly when they just use that as like as an entry point.
Fun fact, Stalin should never have risen to power. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Stalin-
I'm very bad. My history is American, and that's it.
Lenin, I think it was Lenin. Whoever was in charge before Stalin gave Stalin the job of making sure people go to the right jobs. He was a fucking secretary. So that when the guy died, he was like, hey, make sure that guy Stalin doesn't get my job. Wait, who'd I put in charge of giving people jobs?
Uh-oh.
Fuck. And then Stalin went on his murder spree of get rid of the political enemies.
Yeah.
But anyway, Trotsky, the reason why Snowball fled and why it was such a violent manner is it's showing Trotsky's fleeing, how he actually fled. And then when he would come back, he would start doing actual revolutions and shit, which I don't think a single time in the book Snowball ever actually made it back to the farm. I think it was all Napoleon.
No. Oh, no, it definitely wasn't. It was like he was making such a show of it. It was definitely
like,
it was a ploy to ploy to give them some. It basically was using Snowball as a general, like, something is going bad that could reflect on me, like poor management, we're out of food.
Yeah.
No, Snowball sabotaged the grain bin.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there also is the possibility he may have talked to people. He may have come back and talked to people. I could see, but I don't.
And like just kind of, I think it's possible, but I think it's like an 80-20. I think 20% chance he actually came back and did some stuff, not everything.
I don't think he did anything malicious.
No.
I think he came back to like check on people, see how they are, and try to, if anything happened, I think Snowball probably pulled a, like, talk to them, figure something out, and if they do something, if they choose to do something, then like during the slaughter,
to facilitate if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think Snowball actually did anything because I think he understood that if he did something, it would
truly be.
It would trickle down to hurt no one but everyone.
It would hurt only the people he cared about.
Yeah, and he understood that because he was. I think anyway.
I see what you mean.
Boxer also represented the working class in Soviet Union.
Yeah, that one was.
The whole "I will work harder" and Napoleon's always right. Trust the leadership. They will know. They know what's best for us, and I can work through this. We can work through it no matter what.
Together.
Yeah.
It
makes sense.
And then, I mean, especially where he worked more than he had to.
Worked literally to death.
Literally to death. Literally.
And then also showing how the Soviet Union just threw him away.
Yeah, just basically.
You're broken?
You're no longer usable. It's basically like what would happen to a working class person. Oh, you're no longer usable. Let's make let's squeeze our last drop out of you until you literally are dead, and we're going to use your body and squeeze everything we can from you until you are a husk.
Yeah.
You know, oh my God, he was literally the glue that was holding together his stuff. No, think about it though.
I mean, kind of. I mean, the farm didn't fall apart with him gone.
Yeah, but he was the glue until he got turned into literal glue.
I mean,
everything fell apart when Boxer died. When their glue wiped away, that's beginning of the real downfall.
I mean, I guess, yeah. No, I guess.
Spiral. When he sold the working class out, that's when he became just as bad as what they were.
No, I would say, yeah, that is. I guess
it was starting, but he was like the working class was basically keeping him from going too far over the line. Like, yeah, there were like little bits here and there, but like it really started like really building after Boxer's death.
Maybe I don't remember when the slaughter was. I would count when the slaughter happened.
The slaughter.
When the slaughter happens is when I'd say it was really there.
Also pushed Boxer after the slaughter, like really to push him really, really hard, and he didn't last much longer after the slaughter.
I still think the slaughter is what
I
get your analogy of the glue, but I don't think he had that much of a hold because even when he was gone, nobody questioned it. Nobody fought back. No one fought.
Because I think after the slaughter, that's when he started buying animals in that didn't know.
They bought animals before that.
Did they?
Yeah.
I thought it was post-slaughter because they needed to rebuild their numbers. They bought animals from...
They were buying animals back when the chickens couldn't repopulate.
Okay.
When they started selling as much eggs as they made.
Okay. I like I said,
I think
kind of
anyway.
A fuzzy timeline.
The timeline's fucked.
Down in the comments down below. I can't, like I said, I don't think I have anything more to add. Do you?
I don't think I have anything else now.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the first episode of Pondering Prince. I'm excited to do this more. I'm hoping like the first Friday of every month we can get an episode out, but that will depend on our time. We are busy folks, and also getting time to listen to an entire book is not the most easy thing to do. But thank you all for coming out. Let us know what you thought of this first episode down in the comments below. And with that, I'll do.
We'll see you
Bye.
guys in the next episode of Pondering
Bye
Prince.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.